The stars looked cold and distant from the bridge of the Zephyrian flagship Star's Dominion. Admiral Kethver stood before the massive viewing screen with his 4 arms crossed behind his back. His purple skin gleamed under the ship's artificial lighting as he watched the tactical display show hundreds of green dots moving through space. Each dot represented a coalition warship under his command. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy entire cities. The Galactic Coalition had ruled this part of the galaxy for over 3,000 years. 12 different alien species worked together under coalition law. They brought order to chaos. They brought civilization to primitive worlds. They had never failed to conquer a planet when they set their minds to it. Today would be no different. Kethver's intelligence officer approached him with a data tablet in her clawed hands. Commander Shellra was a Vorthic, a species known for their careful attention to detail. Her large black eyes reflected the bridge lights as she spoke in her clicking language. The universal translator converted her words into Kethver's native tongue. "Admiral, our scouts have completed their survey of the target system," she said. "The third planet shows signs of recent spaceflight capability. They call themselves humans. Our estimates suggest they achieved faster-than-light travel only 50 years ago." Kethver nodded slowly. 50 years was nothing in galactic terms. Most species took centuries to develop proper space fleets after their first faster-than-light journey. These humans were still children playing with dangerous toys. "What are their defensive capabilities?" he asked. Shellra tapped her tablet several times. "Primitive by our standards. They have 47 ships in their entire fleet. Their largest vessel measures only 800 meters in length. Their weapons appear to be basic energy projectors and explosive missiles. No evidence of shield technology beyond simple energy barriers." The Admiral's mandibles clicked together in what his species considered amusement. 47 ships against his fleet of 300. It would hardly qualify as a battle. Perhaps the humans would be wise enough to surrender without forcing him to demonstrate coalition firepower. "Any signs of alliance with other galactic powers?" Kethver asked. "None, Admiral. They appear to be completely isolated. Our long-range sensors detected no foreign technology signatures in their system. These humans developed their space capabilities independently. This made the conquest even simpler. Some primitive worlds received aid from established galactic civilizations. Such interference often complicated coalition expansion efforts. But these humans stood alone against the might of 12 advanced species." Kethver turned to his communications officer. Lieutenant Drakmer was young for his position, but his species possessed natural talents for language and signals processing. His green skin had the healthy glow of youth, and his 6 eyes moved independently as he monitored multiple communication channels. "Open a channel to the human homeworld," Kethver ordered. "Standard conquest protocol. Give them the usual terms." Drakmer, Sizi. Fingers danced across his control panel. The main screen shifted to show Earth growing larger as the coalition fleet approached. It was a beautiful world, Kethver admitted to himself. Blue oceans and white clouds swirled around brown and green continents. Such worlds were rare and valuable. The coalition would put it to good use not far below on Earth's surface. Alarms began sounding in the Global Defense Command Center. Captain Lisa Martinez sat at her monitoring station watching the approach of the largest fleet humanity had ever encountered. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight military bun, and her brown eyes remained focused on the tactical display despite the chaos erupting around her. 300 contacts and counting, reported Jake Thompson from his position at the sensor array. The young tactical officer's voice remained steady despite the magnitude of what they faced. They're maintaining standard battle formation. Estimated arrival at Earth orbit in 6 hours. Amy Rodriguez looked up from her communication station. Her hands moved quickly across the control panels as she tried to establish contact with the approaching fleet. "I'm receiving a transmission on all frequencies," she announced. "It's in multiple languages, but the translation software is working on it." Captain Martinez nodded grimly. She had trained her entire career for this moment, though she had hoped it would never come. Humanity's first contact with alien life was supposed to be peaceful. Instead, it looked like war. The translation came through clearly. A deep alien voice filled the command center, speaking perfect English, despite its obviously non-human origins. "Primitive inhabitants of the third world of this system. I am Admiral Kethver of the Galactic Coalition. Your world has been selected for incorporation into our civilization. You will surrender your military forces and submit to Coalition authority. Resistance will result in the destruction of your cities and the enslavement of your population. You have one rotation of your world to comply." Martinez felt her blood run cold. 24 hours to surrender or face annihilation. She opened a channel to Commander Ben Foster at the Pentagon. His weathered face appeared on her screen, showing the strain of a career military officer facing humanity's greatest crisis. "You heard the transmission, Commander," Martinez said. "What are your orders?" Foster was quiet for a long moment. His gray eyes studied reports, scrolling across his own displays. Finally, he spoke with the calm authority that had made him Earth's Senior Military Advisor. "Implement Defense Protocol 7. Notify all fleet commanders to assume ready positions." "And Martinez?" "Yes, sir." "Tell them we're not going quietly." Martinez felt a grim smile cross her face. Defense Protocol 7 was humanity's last resort. Plan. It had been developed in absolute secrecy over the past 30 years. If it worked, Earth might survive. If it failed, at least they would make the aliens pay a heavy price for their conquest. She turned to her communications officer. "Amy, send the activation signal to all defense platforms. Use encryption level 9. Amy's fingers flew across her keyboard. Across the solar system, hidden bases received the coded message. Systems that had remained dormant for decades began powering up. Weapons that existed only in classified documents prepared for their first and possibly final test. Thompson monitored the alien fleet's approach on his sensors. The Coalition ships moved with the confidence of predators who had never faced serious resistance. Their formation was perfect, their energy signatures massive. By every conventional measure, Earth's defense force was hopelessly outmatched. Humanity had never been conventional. Admiral Kethvar stood on his bridge, watching Earth grow larger on the main screen. In a few hours, this beautiful world would join the Coalition. Its people would serve galactic civilization. Their resources would fuel Coalition expansion to new systems. It was the natural order of things. He had no idea that everything was about to change. The Coalition fleet moved through space like a school of metal fish. Admiral Kethvar watched his tactical display with satisfaction as 300 ships maintained perfect formation. His sensors showed the human defense force ahead, and he almost felt sorry for them. 47 small ships against the might of the galaxy's greatest military alliance seemed hardly fair. Commander Shelra approached with another update. Her clawed fingers tapped against her data tablet as she spoke. "Admiral, we are detecting some unusual energy readings from the human vessels. Their power signatures are higher than our initial estimates suggested." Kethver's 4 eyes focused on the display she offered him. The readings did seem odd for such primitive ships, but he had seen young civilizations overload their systems before. Fear often made species push their technology beyond safe limits. "Probably desperation," he said with a dismissive wave. "They are likely burning out their engines, trying to match our speed." Far away on the bridge of the Defiance Edge, Captain Lisa Martinez received the signal she had been waiting for. The message came through her personal communication channel. encrypted with codes known only to Earth's highest command levels. Commander Foster's face appeared on her private screen. "Martinez, you are authorized to begin Phase 1 of the defense protocol. Show them what we've been hiding." Martinez felt her heart rate increase. She turned to Jake Thompson at his tactical station. "Jake, transmit authorization code Alpha 77 to all fleet units. Tell them it's time to drop the mask." Thompson's hands moved across his controls with practiced efficiency. "Message sent, Captain. All ships acknowledge and are standing by." Amy Rodriguez looked up from her communication array. "Captain, I'm detecting massive power surges throughout our fleet. Energy signatures are climbing beyond anything our ships should be capable of." Martinez allowed herself a small smile. "That's because these aren't the ships the aliens think they are." Across the solar system, something impossible began to happen. The 47 ships of Earth's defense fleet started to shimmer and fade. One by one, they seemed to dissolve into empty space until the coalition sensors showed nothing where the human vessels had been moments before. On the star's dominion, alarms began sounding throughout the bridge. Lieutenant Drakmer frantically worked his communication controls while his 6 eyes moved independently to track multiple displays. "Admiral, the human ships have vanished from our sensors. All 47 vessels show no energy signatures." Kethver felt his first moment of concern. Ships didn't simply disappear, especially not entire fleets. His mandibles clicked nervously as he studied the tactical display. Run full spectrum analysis. Check for sensor malfunctions. Commander Shelra worked alongside her technical team, running diagnostics on every sensor array the flagship possessed. "All systems are functioning normally, Admiral." The human ships had genuinely vanished from detection, but they hadn't vanished at all. Captain Martinez stood on the bridge of the Defiant's edge, watching her displays show the coalition fleet approaching while their own ship remained completely invisible. The stealth technology had taken Earth scientists 20 years to develop, reverse-engineered from alien scout ships that had crashed on Earth decades earlier, Dr. Helen Park monitored the engagement from her position aboard the orbital research station New Horizon. Her gray hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her blue eyes remained focused on the data streaming across her screens. She had spent most of her career studying captured alien technology, finding ways to adapt it to human needs. "All ships report successful stealth activation," she announced to the Defense Command Network. "Coalition sensors show no detection of our fleet. We are effectively invisible to their technology." The aliens had made a critical error in their intelligence gathering. They had observed Earth's defense preparations from a distance, cataloging the ships humanity built in public shipyards. But they had missed the secret construction projects hidden in asteroid mining facilities and deep space platforms. They had seen what humanity wanted them to see. Jake Thompson watched his tactical display as the coalition fleet continued its approach toward Earth. The alien ships maintained their confident formation, apparently unaware that they were now surrounded by human vessels they couldn't detect. "Captain, we have perfect firing positions on at least 60 coalition ships. They have no idea we're here." Martinez nodded, but kept her finger away from the weapons controls. The plan called for patience. Revealing their stealth capability was only the first surprise Earth had prepared for. These would be conquerors. Maintain position and wait for further orders. We stick to the timeline. Admiral Kethvar found himself facing a tactical situation he had never encountered before. Enemy ships didn't simply vanish without explanation. His military experience told him the humans were using some form of cloaking technology, but coalition. Science said such systems were impossible for a species at humanity's development level. "Begin wide-range sensor sweeps," he ordered. "Use every detection method we have. Gravitational, thermal, quantum resonance, everything." The Coalition's most advanced sensors swept through the space around Earth, searching for any trace of the missing human ships. They found nothing. The human fleet had achieved complete invisibility using technology that shouldn't exist according to everything the Coalition knew about technological development. Captain Lisa Martinez received another encrypted message from Earth Command. This time it was Dr. Helen Park speaking from the New Horizon station. Captain, Phase 2 is authorized. Begin revealing our true fleet strength. Martinez opened a channel to all human vessels. All ships, this is Defiance Edge Actual. Execute. Reveal protocol on my mark. Show them what Earth really built. What happened next defied every assumption the Coalition had made about human military capability. The space around Earth began to fill with new contacts as additional ships decloaked. But these weren't the small vessels the aliens had observed during their intelligence gathering. These were warships that matched Coalition vessels in size and energy output. Commander, Shelra watched her tactical display in growing alarm as more and more human ships appeared on her sensors. Admiral, we now detect over 200 human vessels. Their energy signatures suggest advanced weapons and shielding systems. Kethfer felt his confidence beginning to crack. 200 ships was still fewer than his 300, but the gap was much smaller than he had expected. More troubling was the implication that humans possessed technology advanced enough to hide such a large fleet from Coalition sensors. Amy Rodriguez monitored Coalition communications from her station on the Defiance Edge. The universal translator was picking up increasing amounts of chatter between alien ships. Captain, they're definitely rattled. I'm hearing tactical discussions about formation changes and weapons preparation. Dr. Helen Park smiled as she watched the Coalition fleet begin to slow its approach toward Earth. The reveal of humanity's true fleet strength was having exactly the effect she had hoped for. But this was still just the beginning of Earth's defense plan. Jake Thompson updated his tactical analysis as more human ships continued to decloak throughout the solar system. Captain, we now have Coalition ships surrounded on multiple vectors. If this turns into a shooting war, we have excellent positioning. But Captain Martinez knew the real surprise was still waiting in Earth's orbital shipyards. The fleet surrounding the Coalition forces was impressive, but it wasn't humanity's ultimate defensive measure. That honor belonged to something so large and powerful that it would change everything the galaxy thought it knew about human engineering capability. The Coalition had come expecting to face primitives with crude weapons. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by a technologically advanced fleet that had appeared from nowhere. Admiral Kethfor realized he needed to completely reassess the situation. The humans were full of surprises. The standoff had lasted for 3 hours. Admiral Kethfor stood on his bridge, studying the tactical display that showed human ships surrounding his fleet on all sides. 200 vessels that had appeared from nowhere, using technology the Coalition thought impossible. His confidence in an easy victory was gone, replaced by growing concern about what other surprises these humans might have prepared. Commander Shelra approached with her latest intelligence report. Her black eyes reflected worry as she spoke. Admiral, our analysis teams have been studying the human ship designs. They don't match any known technological development patterns. These vessels appear to use hybrid systems that combine multiple alien technologies in ways we've never seen. Kethfer's mandibles clicked together in frustration. How had Coalition intelligence failed so completely? The humans weren't supposed to have contact with other galactic civilizations. Yet their ships clearly incorporated advanced technologies from multiple species. Are you suggesting they reverse-engineered captured equipment? It's the only explanation that makes sense, Shelra replied. But Admiral, if they could do this with scout ships and probe vessels, what might they have accomplished with larger technology samples? The question hung in the air like a threat. Every species in the galaxy had lost ships to various accidents over the centuries. Pirates, navigation errors, mechanical failures, all left debris floating in space. If the humans had been collecting and studying such wreckage for decades, they might have learned far more than anyone realized. On Earth, Commander Ben Foster sat in the Global Defense Command Center watching status reports flow across his screens. The alien fleet had stopped its advance toward Earth and appeared to be reassessing the situation. This was exactly what the defense plan had hoped to achieve. But Foster knew the real test was still to come. Dr. Helen Park opened a secure channel from the New Horizon Research Station. Her face appeared on Foster's screen, showing a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Ben, the shipyard reports that Terra's RAF is ready for deployment. All systems are online and crews standing by. Foster felt his stomach tighten. The Terra's RAF represented 30 years of human industrial effort and scientific advancement. It was humanity's ultimate defensive weapon, built in absolute secrecy, using every technological breakthrough they had achieved since first contact with alien debris. If it failed, Earth would have no other options. "What's the crew status?" he asked. Captain Steve Roberts reports all stations manned and ready. They've been training in simulators for 2 years, but this will be their first time operating the real ship. Foster made his decision. Authorize Phase 3. It's time to show them what humanity can really build. Deep within Earth's orbital shipyards, massive construction bay doors began to open. The facility had been built inside a hollowed-out asteroid, hidden from casual observation by anyone who might be watching from space. For 3 decades, the greatest engineering minds of humanity had worked in secret to create something that would secure Earth's independence. Captain Steve Roberts stood on the bridge of Terra's RAF and felt the ship come alive around him. The vessel stretched 15 kilometers from bow to stern, making it larger than most Coalition space stations. Its hull was constructed from materials that pushed the boundaries of known science, incorporating technologies learned from studying alien wreckage. Lieutenant Commander Kate Sullivan sat at the weapons control station, her hands moving across displays that showed systems no other ship in the galaxy possessed. She had spent 5 years learning to operate equipment that existed nowhere else in known space. "Captain, all weapon systems are online and ready. Shall I begin the emergence sequence?" Roberts nodded calmly despite the magnitude of the moment. "Proceed with emergence. Let's introduce ourselves to our visitors." The Terra's RAF slowly moved out of its hidden berth and into open space. Its massive bulk dwarfed every other ship in the solar system. The vessel's energy signature was unlike anything the Coalition had ever encountered, built around principles that their science said were impossible. On the star's dominion, alarms began sounding the moment Terra's RAF appeared on sensors. Lieutenant Drachmer's 6 eyes moved frantically between displays as he tried to process what he was seeing. Admiral, massive contact emerging from the asteroid belt. The vessel is. Admiral, it's enormous. Kethfer turned to study the main display and felt his blood turn cold. The human ship was larger than his flagship, larger than any vessel he had ever seen. But size wasn't what worried him most. The energy readings coming from that ship defied everything the Coalition knew about power generation and containment. How is such a vessel even possible? He whispered. Commander Shelra worked frantically with her analysis team, running every sensor they possessed against the massive human ship. Admiral, the energy signature doesn't match any known propulsion or weapons technology. The power output. Readings are off our measurement scales. Dr. Helen Park monitored the emergence from her research station, feeling a mixture of pride and terror at what humanity had accomplished. The Terra's RAF represented everything they had learned about. Alien technology pushed beyond what any single species had achieved. It was proof that human engineering could exceed galactic standards when properly motivated. Captain Lisa Martinez watched from the bridge of Defiance Edge as the massive warship took position at the center of Earth's defensive formation. She hadn't been told the full specifications of Terra's wrath, but she knew it represented humanity's last hope for independence. "Jake, what are you reading from the big ship?" Thompson studied his displays with growing amazement. "Captain, I can't get accurate readings on its weapon systems. Whatever they installed on that thing, it's not using any technology I recognize." Amy Rodriguez monitored Coalition communications as panic spread through the alien fleet. The Universal translator was picking up urgent discussions between ship commanders as they tried to understand what they were facing. "Captain, they're as confused as we are. I'm hearing references to impossible energy readings and unknown technology." Captain Steve Roberts opened a channel to all human vessels. His voice carried the authority of someone who commanded the most powerful warship ever built. "All Earth Defense Force units, this is Terra's wrath. We are assuming fleet command position. Prepare for tactical demonstration." Admiral Kethfer realized his situation had changed completely. The humans weren't just technologically advanced. They had built something that exceeded Coalition engineering capabilities. The massive ship sitting at the center of the human formation represented a level of industrial achievement that suggested Earth's civilization was far more developed than anyone had suspected. Lieutenant Drakmar received an incoming transmission from the human flagship. "Admiral, the large human vessel is requesting to open communications with you directly." Kethfer straightened his uniform and tried to project confidence he didn't feel. "Put them through." Captain Roberts' face appeared on the main screen. His expression was calm but determined as he spoke. "Admiral Kethfer, I am Captain Steve Roberts of the Earth Defense Force vessel Terra's Wrath. I believe it's time we had a more serious conversation about your presence in our system." The Admiral realized that everything had changed. These weren't primitives to be conquered. They were a civilization that had been preparing for this moment longer than anyone had imagined. Captain Steve Roberts looked directly at Admiral Kethfor through the communication screen. His calm expression showed no fear despite facing a fleet of 300 alien warships. Behind him on the bridge of Terra's Wrath, his crew worked quietly at stations, controlling weapons that could reshape the very nature of space combat. "Admiral, your surrender demand was based on incomplete information about human capabilities," Roberts said. "Before we continue this conversation, I believe a demonstration is in order. Something to help you understand exactly what you're dealing with." Kethfer felt his throat tighten. The massive human ship floating before his fleet already defied everything Coalition science said was possible. What kind of demonstration could make the situation even worse? "What do you propose, Captain?" Roberts turned to Lieutenant Commander Kate Sullivan at the weapons station. "Kate, target the asteroid field at coordinates 77 Mark IV. Prepare the gravitational resonance cannon for controlled demonstration." Sullivan's hands moved across her control panels with practiced precision. She had trained for 2 years on simulators, but this would be the first time anyone had fired the weapon in actual combat conditions. "Captain, GRC is online and ready." Target selected. Dr. Helen Park watched from the New Horizon Research Station as Terra's Wrath began powering up its most devastating weapon system. The gravitational resonance cannon represented the pinnacle of human scientific achievement, a device that manipulated the fundamental forces holding matter together. She had helped design it, but seeing it used still filled her with both pride and terror. The asteroid field Roberts had selected contained hundreds of rocks, ranging from small boulders to planetoids several kilometers across. It was a perfect demonstration target, large enough to showcase the weapon's power while far enough from inhabited areas to avoid collateral damage. Admiral Kethvar watched his sensors as energy readings from the human ship climbed beyond anything his equipment could properly measure. Whatever weapon they were preparing to fire, it was drawing more power than some coalition ships used for their entire propulsion systems. Admiral, Commander Shellra reported with obvious concern, "The energy signature from their vessel is unlike anything in our database. The power levels suggest they're preparing to fire something equivalent to a planetary bombardment weapon." But when Terra's Wrath fired, there was no visible beam or projectile. Instead, space itself seemed to twist around the target asteroid field. The rocks began collapsing inward as gravitational forces increased beyond what normal matter could withstand. Entire planetoids compressed into impossibly dense points before dispersing as clouds of cosmic dust. Lieutenant Drakmer's 6 eyes moved frantically between his displays as he tried to understand what he was witnessing. "Admiral, the asteroids are being destroyed by gravitational manipulation. They're not using energy weapons or explosives. They're changing the laws of physics." Kethver stared at the tactical display in stunned silence. In 30 seconds, the human weapon had eliminated an entire asteroid field by making the rocks destroy themselves through gravitational collapse. Such technology was beyond anything the Coalition possessed or even theorized about. Captain Lisa Martinez watched the demonstration from the Bridge of Defiance edge. Even she hadn't known the full capabilities of Terra's Wrath, and seeing it in action left her speechless. "Jake, are you getting readings on that weapon system?" Thompson shook his head in amazement. "Captain, my sensors can't even properly classify what we just witnessed. A ship somehow created localized gravitational anomalies strong enough to collapse solid matter. That shouldn't be possible according to any physics I know." Amy Rodriguez monitored Coalition communications as panic spread through the alien fleet. The Universal Translator was picking up desperate conversations between ship commanders trying to understand what they had just seen. "Captain, they're completely terrified. I'm hearing calls for immediate retreat and requests for reinforcements." But Captain Roberts wasn't finished with his demonstration. He turned back to Kate Sullivan at the weapons station. "Kate, prepare the quantum displacement array. Let's show them our second surprise." Sullivan activated a completely different set OF controls. The quantum displacement array operated on entirely different principles from the gravitational weapon. Instead of crushing matter, it selectively removed objects from normal spacetime, making them cease to exist without creating any detectable energy signature. Dr. Helen Park felt her heart rate increase as she watched Terra's Wrath prepare to fire its second impossible weapon. The quantum displacement array had been tested only in laboratory conditions on microscopic targets. Using it on asteroid-sized objects was entering completely unknown territory. The second demonstration was even more unsettling than the first. Roberts selected another section of the asteroid field and gave the firing order. This time, the targeted rocks simply vanished. No collapse, no explosion, no debris. They were there one moment and gone the next, as if they had never existed. At all. Commander Shellra ran every sensor scan available to Coalition science, trying to detect some trace of the vanished asteroids. Her analysis team worked frantically, checking for energy residue, matter displacement, or any sign of what had happened to several billion tons of rock. "Admiral, there is no trace of the destroyed asteroids. They appear to have been completely removed from existence." Admiral Kethver realized he was facing technology that could potentially eliminate his entire fleet without creating any detectable evidence of the attack. Ships could simply vanish, leaving no trace for Coalition command to investigate. The implications were terrifying. Captain Roberts opened the communication channel again. His expression remained calm, but his words carried unmistakable authority. "Admiral, as you can see, Terra's Wrath possesses weapons that operate beyond conventional physics. The gravitational resonance cannon can destroy targets by manipulating space-time itself. The quantum displacement array can remove objects from existence without leaving traces. Roberts paused to let the implications sink in before continuing. These demonstrations used minimum power settings against non-military targets. Both weapon systems can be scaled up considerably for use against shielded warships. Lieutenant. Commander Kate Sullivan monitored her weapon systems, noting that both demonstrations had used less than 5% of their maximum output. Terra's Wrath was capable of eliminating coalition ships faster than their sensors could track, and there were still 3 more weapon systems that hadn't been revealed. Dr. Helen Park opened a secure channel to Commander Foster on Earth. Then, the demonstrations were successful. Coalition fleet movement has stopped completely. Their communication traffic suggests they're requesting instructions from higher command. Foster nodded grimly. The plan was working exactly as designed. By demonstrating overwhelming technological superiority, Earth hoped to avoid an actual battle that could result in massive casualties on both sides. Any signs they're preparing to attack? Negative. Their weapons remain powered down. I think they're too shocked to consider offensive action. Captain Lisa Martinez received new orders through her encrypted communication channel. The next phase of Earth's defense plan involved showing the coalition that Terra's Wrath wasn't humanity's only advanced warship. The 47 vessels of the original defense fleet were about to reveal their own technological surprises. Amy Rodriguez detected increasing amounts of communication traffic between coalition ships. Captain, they're definitely trying to figure out their next move. Some ships are requesting permission to withdraw, while others are asking for tactical analysis of human capabilities. Admiral Kethvar found himself facing the most difficult decision in his military career. His fleet still outnumbered the humans, but their weapons technology was clearly superior to anything the coalition possessed. A direct confrontation could result in the complete destruction of his forces without inflicting significant damage on the enemy. The humans had turned simple conquest into a nightmare scenario that could reshape galactic politics forever. Admiral Kethvar stood alone in his private quarters aboard the Star's Dominion, staring at the tactical report his staff had prepared. The document painted a picture that challenged everything he had learned in his 40 years of military service. The humans possessed weapons that could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself. His fleet of 300 ships faced opponents who could erase them from existence without leaving any trace. A soft chime indicated someone requesting entry. Commander Shelra entered when he granted permission, her usually confident expression replaced by obvious concern. She carried a data tablet containing the latest analysis from their science teams. Admiral, our physicists have completed their preliminary study of the human weapon demonstrations, she said. Their conclusions are disturbing. The gravitational weapon appears to create artificial black holes that can be precisely controlled and dispersed. The displacement weapon operates by shifting matter into parallel dimensions. Both technologies are theoretically impossible, according to coalition science. Kethvar accepted the tablet and reviewed the technical details. His species had always prided themselves on their advanced understanding of physics and engineering. To discover that another civilization had surpassed them so completely was deeply unsettling. What are their recommendations? Immediate withdrawal and diplomatic contact with coalition high command. Our science teams believe the humans may have access to technologies from civilizations beyond current knowledge. Engaging them militarily would be suicide. Captain Steve Roberts sat in his command chair aboard Terra's Wrath, monitoring the coalition fleet's status through his tactical displays. The alien ships remained motionless, apparently paralyzed by uncertainty about how to proceed. His demonstration had achieved exactly what Earth strategists had hoped for, but he knew the next few hours would determine whether humanity achieved independence or faced a war they might not survive. Lieutenant, Commander Kate Sullivan reported from her weapons station. Captain, all systems remain at ready status. The Coalition fleet shows no signs of aggressive movement, but their weapons are still powered and ready for combat. Dr. Helen Park opened a communication channel from the New Horizon Research Station. Her face appeared on Robert's private screen, showing a mixture of exhaustion and relief. Steve, our diplomatic team is standing by. Commander Foster believes this is the right moment to offer the Coalition a peaceful resolution. Roberts nodded thoughtfully. The demonstrations had shown Earth's military capabilities, but now came the more delicate task of turning that display of strength into a foundation for lasting peace. Put me through to Admiral Kethver. It's time to give him a way out of this situation. The communication channel opened to show the alien commander looking considerably less confident than he had hours earlier. Kethver's 4 arms were clasped behind his back, and his mandibles moved nervously as he spoke. Captain Roberts, your demonstrations have been quite educational. I confess that Coalition intelligence severely underestimated human technological development. Roberts chose his words carefully, knowing that galactic politics would be shaped by this conversation. Admiral, Earth has no desire for conflict with the Coalition. We simply want to maintain our independence and develop our civilization without outside interference. We believe there is room in the galaxy for both our peoples to prosper. Commander Ben Foster monitored the diplomatic exchange from Earth's Global Defense Command Center. This was the moment their entire strategy had been building toward. Earth needed to offer the Coalition a face-saving way to withdraw while establishing humanity as an equal rather than a conquest target. Captain Lisa Martinez received orders to begin the final phase of Earth's defense plan. The demonstration of Terra's wrath had shown the Coalition what humanity could build, but now they needed to understand that Earth possessed the industrial capacity to build more such vessels if necessary. Jake, transmit the fleet status report. To all Coalition vessels, Martinez ordered. Let them see our complete order of battle. Thompson's hands moved across his controls, sending detailed information about Earth's true military capabilities. The data revealed not just the ships currently deployed, but the industrial infrastructure that had created them. Orbital shipyards, asteroid mining operations, research facilities, and manufacturing centers spread throughout the solar system. Admiral Kethvar reviewed the incoming data with growing amazement. The humans hadn't just built one impossible warship, they possessed the industrial base to construct entire fleets of such vessels. Earth's military-industrial complex was already larger than most Coalition-member worlds, and it was still expanding. Amy Rodriguez monitored Coalition communications as the fleet commanders discussed their options. The Universal Translator picked up increasingly desperate conversations as the aliens realized the full scope of what they faced. Captain, they're calling for emergency consultations with their high command. Several ship commanders are recommending immediate retreat. Dr. Helen Park felt a wave of relief as she watched the tactical situation stabilize. Earth's gamble had worked. By demonstrating overwhelming technological superiority, they had avoided a battle that could have cost millions of lives on both sides. But she knew the real work was just beginning. Captain Roberts continued his conversation with Admiral Kethver, laying out the terms that would govern future human coalition relations. Admiral, Earth is prepared to offer technology sharing agreements and mutual defense pacts, but only as equals. We will not submit to coalition authority or accept incorporation into your political structure. The alien commander found himself in an impossible position. His orders had been to conquer Earth and bring it into the Coalition. But facing weapons that could erase his entire fleet from existence, those orders had become meaningless. Captain, I lack the authority to negotiate such agreements. I must consult with Coalition High Command. Roberts had expected this response. Of course, Admiral. Earth is prepared to host a formal diplomatic mission whenever the coalition is ready. Until then, we suggest your fleet withdraw to a safe distance while communications with your superiors take place. Lieutenant Commander Kate Sullivan watched her displays as coalition ships began changing formation. The alien vessels were pulling back from Earth orbit, creating space between themselves and the human fleet. Captain, they're implementing a tactical withdrawal. Power signatures suggest they're preparing for faster-than-light travel. Commander Foster opened a channel to all Earth Defense Force units. His weathered face showed the strain of the past day, but also satisfaction at a job well done. All units maintain ready status, but do not pursue the withdrawing coalition forces. We've made our point. Now we let diplomacy take over. Captain Lisa Martinez felt the tension on her bridge begin to ease as the immediate threat passed. The coalition fleet was withdrawing, and Earth had successfully demonstrated that humanity could defend itself against galactic powers. But she knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter in human history. Admiral Kethver stood on his bridge, watching Earth grow smaller on the main display as his fleet withdrew to the edge of the solar system. He would need to explain to Coalition High Command how a supposedly primitive species had achieved technological superiority over the galaxy's most advanced military alliance. The report would change everything. Dr. Helen Park smiled as she watched the coalition ships disappear into faster-than-light travel. Earth had gambled everything on a single moment of demonstration, and it had worked. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest, but through innovation and the courage to stand up for their independence. The galaxy would never be the same.